Hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make NBA DFS content, prize picks content, all these videos that get posted on this subreddit. I'll just have it linked down below. You can talk strategy here with a ton of other people. Great advice here, by the way. You can just read it. I'll have it linked down below. I forgot if I said, but I make updates with all the news that comes out throughout the day. We could have some potential news for tomorrow. You can ask me questions about the slate. You can just say hello, anything you need. If you've been watching for a while and just want to talk, I'm here all day, all night. I don't leave my computer. This is kind of what I live for 6 months, 7 months out of the year. So, yeah, I don't think anyone's as dedicated as I am to this. So, yeah, I'll have this link down below. And if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me there on Twitter. So, we're just going to jump right in, guys. I've had a really frustrating day. First off, with the Sixers loss, Tyrese Maxey just got absolutely mauled there at the end. Nick Nurse, Joel Embiid, both were trying to call a timeout. But on the other hand, the Knicks, I believe Kyle Lowry mauled Dante. I think it was Kyle Lowry and Dante. Kyle Lowry just like mauled Dante. They didn't call that. It's like on both sides they didn't call stuff, but yeah, that was just frustrating. My core tonight, if you guys are curious, was Anthony Davis, Jamal Murray. I told everyone to get to at least one of MPJ or Franz Wagner. Both good games. 80's absolutely crushing, and then Jamal Murray's doing okay, I guess. So the core was good. I just had a bunch of really bad stuff around it. I had a bunch of Jalen Suggs who got hurt. I played Franz in one lineup. He did okay. MPJ in some other lineups. So I had the core in every single lineup. What else? I had some Mitchell Robinson. He had a really bad game. Who else did I have around it? Donovan Mitchell, who had 40 fantasy points at half, ended with like 43. So that was a bit frustrating. I didn't have any Josh Hart. So yeah, not going to be a good night for me. Hopefully you guys had a good night. And if you're looking for more DFS props are going to go terrible as well. So it's just a really bad night overall. But yeah, hopefully you guys had a good night. Let's just get straight into the video, I guess. So we'll take a look at the rotations together. I did watch most of these games. I did not catch the Dallas game, but I did watch most of the Indiana game, most of the Phoenix game. So I'll give you guys my thoughts. I think watching the playoffs is definitely pretty important. As well, you can pick up on like what coaches are going to do, scheme changes, stuff like that. I'll talk about a scheme change in the Indiana game that I think is going to be pretty important for this slate. So we'll talk about that when we do get to the Pacers game. So, all right, yeah. Who are we going over first? We're going over Phoenix. So the big news here is Grayson Allen's questionable. He got hurt last game. I do believe he got hurt in the game. My memory is really bad, but do believe he got hurt into the game. So I don't know if you guys watched the playoffs last year for the Suns, but they would play Kevin Durant and Devin Booker 45 minutes. Doesn't seem to be the case this year. It's still going to get over 40, right? They're just not playing 45, 46 like they were. Now that could change going into like game 3, game 4, game 5, etc. So something to keep an eye on there. I would expect just over 40 for the main three guys: Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. I would expect over 30 for Yusuf Nurkic. He got in a massive foul trouble last game. We'll see about Grayson Allen, and then you'll see basically Eric Gordon, Royce O'Neal, kind of round out the rotation there. All right, let's take a look at the price points. I think the guy that stands out to me once again is going to be Bradley Beal. You guys know I was really high on him this slate. Had a decent game, first price point. Price point's the same. I'm expecting over 40 minutes as long as the game does stay competitive. His potentials were up last game as well. He's going to stuff the stat sheet. We know he's a really good scorer. I'm expecting huge minutes. I think he's a really solid play. He has shooting guard eligibility as well, which is nice. So, yeah, I think he's probably going to be popular tomorrow, but I think it's for good reason. I know it's not the best matchup, but I think point per dollar, he looks like a really solid play at 6.4K. Doesn't mean you don't have to play Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. I think both are just too cheap at their price points as well. 8.5, 8.4 respectively for Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. I would say Bradley Beal probably looks a bit better point per dollar to me, but I don't think Kevin Durant and Booker are out of play either. I think, they're both too cheap as well. Kevin Durant, talented scorer, good rebounder, also has kind of double-double upside in the right games, so he has an insane ceiling. Fine with him. Going to play big minutes. Devin Booker was like, everyone here does seem a bit underpriced. I think the standout to me, though, is Bradley Beal. Yusuf Nurkic at 6.3K got into foul trouble last game, and then it was such a blowout. They were losing by so much. They kind of didn't need him out there, so he didn't come back into the fourth quarter. I think in a normal, close game, he's probably going to be out there for 30 minutes, and I think they kind of need his size out there going up against Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns. Like, if no one's going to play Yusuf Nurkic tomorrow, and like I said, I am expecting him to get fourth quarter run, especially if Grayson Allen's out. I think he's a decent contrarian play. 6.3K for a guy that I'm expecting to get over 30 minutes, that's over a fantasy point per minute guy, is going to be decent no matter the matchup. And if no one's going to play him, I'm very, very intrigued there in GPPs. Grayson Allen, I don't like too much at 5.3K. He's fine as like a filler play for me. Clearly has a ceiling when he's hitting his shots. We'll keep an eye on the ankle injury as well. He was a limited participant in practice, so we'll keep an eye on there. If he's in, it's going to hurt Grayson Allen. It's going to hurt Royce O'Neal, Eric Gordon. Both will be playable darts, but I think we just have better value on this slate. Now let's talk about if Grayson's out. If Grayson's out, I would expect Royce O'Neal to start. He would stand out as a really good value. I would absolutely love Royce O'Neal at 4K, assuming he does start with Grayson Allen out. Eric Gordon would get a bump in minutes. He'd be firmly in play as an option at 3.5K as well. Then main guys don't really change too much. Might just see more secure minutes for the main guys. They might have to run. They're going to run an extremely tight rotation if Grayson Allen's out, right? Now, looking at the value on the slate, like, where would Royce O'Neal rank for these? First off, I think Patrick Beverley is one of the best value plays on the slate. He's up there as one of the best value plays in the slate, in my opinion. And then if Grayson Allen gets rolled out, Royce O'Neal is going to be right up there as well. So, yeah, keep an eye on that. That's definitely going to open up some really good value here for the Suns. So, I think that's it for the Suns. I believe we saw some Isaiah Thomas in the blowout. So that was fun to see him out there getting some run in the blowout. Where is he? Yeah, came in for the blowout. Amazing stuff. So let's move on to the Timberwolves. Another piece of news here is Kyle Anderson is questionable at 3.8K. All right, let's take a look at the minutes. These guys were on pace for massive minutes. McDaniels, Rudy Gobert, respectively. And then we know Anthony Edwards going to get big minutes. And then we know Mike Conley should play mid-30s minutes. NAW saw a bump off the bench, played 30 minutes. He was playing extremely well. And that's basically it. Kyle Anderson got hurt, so they played NAW more, and they played McDaniels more. They didn't really have any other options. So if Kyle Anderson's out tomorrow, they're going to probably run these guys into the ground. So with that being said, assuming Kyle Anderson is out, I do think NAW is a good value. And then I would expect all the minutes you can handle for McDaniels. They need him out there for his defense, solid rebounder. He can rack up blocks. He can rack up steals. I think he's a very solid value just solely for the amount of minutes that he's probably going to have to play here, assuming Kyle Anderson's out. Even if Kyle Anderson is in, I still think he's a really solid value just because they need him out there, right? I would expect over 30 minutes regardless for McDaniels here. So like McDaniels there, and then Kyle Anderson's out. I do like NAW for value. He has a ceiling at 4K. That last game, definitely a bit of an outlier. Like, I don't think you can expect that again, but I would expect at least in the 20s minutes for him. CP solid value. And I like Anthony Edwards a ton. 8.9K for Anthony Edwards. Like, if I had to play Ant, Katie, or Booker, it's Anthony Edwards all day long for me. I like the spot here going up against Phoenix. Good defender as well. He can rack up stocks. He's going to stuff the stat sheet. Talented scorer. Going to play big minutes as long as the game doesn't blow out. 36 in a massive blowout here. I love Anthony Edwards at 8.9K. I think he's one of the better spin-ups on the board. Karl Anthony Towns at 7.3K got into foul trouble. I would expect mid-30s minutes for him. I think he's a decent option. And then Rudy Gobert at 7.1K. I would expect close to 40 minutes for him. Double-double pretty much every game. Good shot blocker. Insane floor with an insane ceiling. I like him quite a bit at 7.1K. Good center option on this slate. I mean, looking at the centers on this slate, you do have some good options. I believe Giannis is doubtful, but you have Bobby Portis. Rudy Gobert looks good to me. Nurkic I like in GPPs. Brook Lopez I think is a pretty strong play. And that's basically it, man. Miles Turner's fine. Zubac is playable. He had a massive game last game. So Rudy Gobert, I think, is pretty good center play. One of the better center plays on this slate. And then Mike Conley at 5.7K, just there for me. Fine as like a last piece in filler type play for me. Got into foul trouble. I would expect mid-30s minutes here for him. Stat sheet stuffer. I think it's solid at 5.7, but Wished he was back down to that like 5.4K price point. I think 5.7 is probably getting to the price point like where he should be, in my opinion. And then we kind of talked about the value. Really like McDaniels if Kyle Anderson's out. NAW would be solid if Kyle Anderson's in. Then I'm less confident in like minutes for like NAW. Still be playable in large field GPPs for me. And then Kyle Anderson himself, I don't know if I'd get to, but would be in the rotation. Still would like McDaniels for value as well. So I think that's going to wrap it up for the first game, guys. Let's talk about the Pacers, and then I'll get into the scheme stuff that I was talking about once we get into the Bucks. All right, Indiana. So we can close this one. Hopefully I'm not talking too much and taking this video too long. I apologize if I am, but I want to get through everything for you guys. All right, so Indiana rotation. You saw Pascal Siakam play 40 minutes. Tyrese Haliburton play 38 minutes. Andrew Nembhard played 30 minutes. Miles Turner played 32 minutes. Aaron Nesmith played 36.5 minutes. Jalen Smith got some backup 5. T.J. McConnell played his normal 18. Played same rotation as normal for TJ in the regular season. In the first quarter, he always plays alongside Haliburton for a little bit. So he got his regular season rotation, basically Obi Toppin in the rotation as well. Pretty much what's expected, but a slight minutes bump for the starters. And I would expect that to happen once again here. So Haliburton just does not look right, man. He just does not look right. He had 20 potential assists last game, which is good to see. He just wasn't being aggressive offensively. I think they're going to need him to, but I'm a bit concerned with his hamstring. He just didn't look right out there. He's just solely a large field GPP play for me. Maybe not large field, like you can obviously play him in single entry. We know it's Tyrese Haliburton. He's probably going to get you a double-double. Like, he can break the slate off any slate when he's hitting his shots as well. So, like, still in play. If he's popular, I want absolutely nothing to do with him if he's popular. But if he's low owned, like sub 30% owned, I like it quite a bit in GPPs because I think everyone's going to be scared, looking like recency bias with the injury, his past games. We know he can break the slate. I think he'd be nice leverage off Pascal Siakam because I think Pascal Siakam is going to be one of the highest owned plays on the slate tomorrow. So that's nice leverage there. So intrigued by Haliburton in GPPs, but he's strictly only a GPP play for me. The guy I really like here is Pascal Siakam. I don't know if you guys were watching that game, but the Bucks just pretty much said, I'm going to let Pascal Siakam beat me, and that's it. That's it. Basically what happened. Bobby Portis, I mean, just absolute dust. Pascal Siakam abused him. I would expect 40 minutes here. I would expect similar usage, had an insane usage rate, good rebounder, double-double upside, going to shoot the ball a decent amount, going to be aggressive offensively, still cheap at 7.8K. I think he's a really good mid-range play. I think he's going to be really popular. I think for good reason, though. They just gave him anything he wanted, pretty much. Miles Turner at 6.4K. I think a solid center play. She'll play low 30s minutes. Has upside. Matchup 6.4K. I think is solid. So don't mind Miles Turner there. And then Nesmith, I think it's a decent value once again. It's another guy that's just going to be out there a ton of minutes. Just has to hit his shots, right? That's the only thing. So I do like Nesmith as a bounce back candidate, just solely off a minutes thing. Just comes down to if he has a good shooting night or not. So very, very safe value of 5K. Nembhard's playable, should play around 30 minutes, but its rates at the tour are just really bad. Going to be a very, very low usage guy out there, but if you need some salary relief, I guess it's okay. Jalen Smith got some backup 5, no thank you. Obi Toppin, just a dart for me. And then, we'll mention T.J. McConnell. Got 18 minutes. We know he's a really good point per minute guy. I think I'd rather play T.J. McConnell over a guy like Andrew Nembhard for sure. Like, give me 18 minutes of T.J. McConnell over 30 minutes of Andrew Nembhard. Absolutely. So I don't mind T.J. McConnell as a contrarian value. All right, let's move on to the Bucks. So I don't know if you guys watched the first half versus the second half there going up against the Pacers, but Damian Lillard just absolutely mauled the Indiana Pacers in the first half. They did a really good adjustment in the second half, and that adjustment was whenever Dame would come out to the three-point line, they would bring Miles Turner up, because the Pacers don't ever double, really, but they'd have Miles Turner come up to the three-point line, and that would help Brook Lopez out a decent amount. So they did a really good adjustment there of kind of doubling a little bit on Damian Lillard, having Miles Turner come up, etc. So that was a little adjustment they did. We'll see if it happens again tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen, so we'll see. With that being said, Giannis is doubtful. So Damian Lillard looks like one of the best spend-ups on the slate, in my opinion. He's probably going to be popular. I think it's for a good reason. He has an insane usage rate with Giannis off the court. Just be a little bit weary. Like, if he's 50+% owned tomorrow and the Pacers do a good job adjusting once again to Damian Lillard, he could bust, absolutely. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities, but yeah, he looks great. I like the mid-range here. Chris Middleton, Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis played 31 minutes, fouled out. You know, he's a really good point per minute guy. I think I like him quite a bit. Chris Middleton, very, very safe, stat sheet stuffer. Got a double-double last game. Should play big minutes. I think he's very safe and very good in the mid-range. Guy I really like here at center at 5.4K is Brook Lopez, especially if they're going to make that adjustment of Miles Turner coming out to the three-point line, because that's going to open up a ton for Brook Lopez. 5.4K, I still think he's a very, very good option at that price point. Patrick Beverley, I think, stands out as one of the best value plays in the slate. I love him. Beasley's playable, has a ceiling. Don't love it, though. I'm not going to get to like Pat Connaughton, Jay Crowder. All right, I'm going to speed this last game up. I think we got most of it out of the way. So with that being said, Dallas is pretty easy to talk about. I mean, personally for me, it's mainly just Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving that I'm interested in. I guess P.D. Washington's okay. Should play big minutes. Low usage, but going to play big minutes. The playoffs, like, it's fine for me. Fine as like a filler piece. Gafford got in a massive foul trouble. They're going to run 3 centers. They're going to play Lively. They're going to play Kleba. Gafford would be my favorite, but when they're running 3 centers, it's just tough for me to prioritize any of them. And then you have Luka Doncic, right? It's 2-game slate. He's going to play big minutes. Raw points probably going to matter. Triple-double upside. He looks great. Kyrie Irving would be your pivot in GPPs if you wanted one. Had a nice game. Last game, 8.3K is reasonable. He's playable. All right, let's move on to the clips. So it all depends on Kawhi Leonard, right? If Kawhi Leonard's in, it's going to take me off most of this value. Well, Coffee would be out of play for me. Man would still be a playable value, but a big, big downgrade would still at least be playable. Powell would have a big, big downgrade. Would be priced right. I don't know what that game was last game. Westbrook, his minutes would be less secure. Zubac would lose usage, and the main guys would all lose usage. I think they'd all be priced right. Wouldn't make them out of play. Like, still be firmly in play, but I would prefer, you know, just Kawhi Leonard out. So if Kawhi Leonard's out, I think there's a good amount to like here once again. I think Man's a decent value. Coffee started last game, played 25 minutes. He'd be playable at 3.9K. Wish he was cheaper, would be playable. If nobody is going to play Norman Powell tomorrow because of this absolute stinker, I'm fine going right back. If that's going to lower his ownership, I think he's a really good GPP play if Kawhi Leonard's out. I think he's good regardless with Kawhi out, but if his ownership is lower, by all means, I think he's a really good bounce back candidate. Westbrook at 5.3K played 23 minutes. I don't mind him. I like his ceiling. Price came down. And then I really like Paul George. I really like James Harden. I think there were 2 really, really good mid-range plays, assuming Kawhi Leonard's out. Harden had the big game last game, so if everyone's just going to play Harden, I'd rather go to Paul George. If everyone's going to play Paul George, maybe you can make the argument just go to Harden. But I feel like everyone's going to jump on the Harden bandwagon because he had a good game last game. And Zubac gains a bit of a usage bump as well. She'll play over 30 minutes. I think it's decent. Good matchup as well. You guys know I like targeting Daniel Gafford, so don't mind Zubac there. All right, I think that's it. I think this video went long enough, and I will talk to y'all in the next video.